Good morning. Well, I'll try and make this one quick because I am outside, filming outside, so it may be a bit noisy. I want to talk you through this one because this one is, quite frankly, ridiculous. I've got two things to talk about. We're going to look into the article, and then we're going to look into some of the comments on Facebook that show that the people really have had enough. So this is Hounslow to expand emission-based parking charges to tackle air pollution, right? Because as we know, your car is always polluting even when it's parked. So what they're doing is Hounslow Council have introduced 7 new charges for parking based on how much your car is polluting. And as I said, as we know, when your car is parked, it's not polluting at all. And your car isn't polluting that much anyway because it passed an MOT and you've already paid the low emission zone fine. So this is basically just a way to get poor people off the road. Let's call it what it is, Hounslow Council. Right, so what are the emission-based parking charges? They mean parking based on the vehicle's level of carbon dioxide emissions. The less polluting a vehicle is, the less the user pays for parking, which, as I said, when the car's parked, it's not doing any polluting. It's hilarious. So what are the bans? Let's have a look. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is on CO2 emissions. CO2, of course, the breath of life. You know, we need CO2 for trees. And people who grow plants will pump more CO2 in to make the plants grow better. But the science is settled and it's also safe and effective, so protect yourself and others. CO2 emissions, band 1 is 0, band 2 up to 75 grams a kilometre. Why is it done in kilometres when the UK does everything else in miles? Band 3, maybe because it's an EU thing, but I thought we left the EU, didn't we? We left the EU in name only. Band 3, 76 to 100, band 4, 101 to 130, band 5, 130 to 170, band 6, which let's be honest, most old cars are going to fall into, 171 to 225, and band 7, over 225. So, does it say the money? It doesn't actually tell me. New prices will come into effect 25th of January 2025. And there's basically a diesel surcharge on that. But if you've got a motorbike, you're okay, because basically nobody gives a crap about motorbikes, so you can do what you like. Where is the actual... Right, so although it tells you the emissions bands, it doesn't actually tell you how much it's going to cost to park a car in Hounslow. I would advise the best thing that you could possibly do is just not go to Hounslow. Let's take a little look at some of the comments on their Facebook page, because they are, quite frankly, illuminating, to say the least. If I can just use my other hand to open that. Oh no, wrong button. Right, there we go, got it open. So let's just do a quick run through the comments. So this is one day ago. London Borough of Hounslow post on their Facebook page that the parking charges are going to be changing, and the comments are fantastic. First up, you've got someone called Geoff buys cars, who just quite simply says, "You effing idiots." That is all. Nice one, Geoff. I think you've pretty much nailed it there. Mandeep says, so Hounslow Council give permission for flats to be built everywhere you can find space and homes to be turned into HMOs, which increases the amount of road use in Hounslow, and now we all have to pay. You people are corrupt beyond belief. Couldn't have put it better myself, Mandeep. Marula says, City Council charges keep rising every year, yet the streets remain filthy, only cleared once a quarter. It was yesterday that they decided to remove the autumn leaves. On top of that, the council have blocked most of the surrounding streets, turning them into same-way exit roads without any prior notice to residents, effectively preventing them from using them, despite the fact that we pay council tax, road tax, and now to add insult to injury, we're receiving penalty notices for using the road we've lived and driven on for the past 6 years. Truly the worst council in history. And that's saying something, because most of the councils in Britain are the same. They're actively working for the World Economic Forum and actively working against the human beings that live in their councils. Tim says this should be illegal. I pay taxes based on the emissions of my vehicle. Why should I pay when it's parked and not emitting anything? Great point, Tim. Tim's worked out the basics as well there. Jamie says vote reform, it's the only way now. I can't agree, Jamie. We haven't got time. And it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. You've just got to leave. That is basically your only option. Mandy says, let's build another runway. Good idea, because obviously we're not too far from Heathrow, where they're building another runway. But as we know, planes, yachts, and private jets, second homes, these things, they don't pollute anything. That's what you've got to realise. The stuff that rich people have, wealthy people, elite people, that doesn't pollute. So it's okay. Terry says, amazing, we in Hounslow have pollution spewing planes everywhere overhead every 3 minutes, yet the council come up with bullshites like this just to generate money. Shame on them. Stephanie says, parked cars don't pollute, it's just another money grab. Robin says, too many liars have been caught out. Another Robin says, upholding the standards in public life, a keynote speech from Lord Evans, October 2023, the 7 principles of working in public life. And this is a great comment because number 1, selflessness. Number 2, integrity. Number 3, objectivity. Number 4, accountability. Number 5, openness. Number 6, honesty. Number 7, leadership. None of these councils have any of these things, and Sadiq Khan is an example of how to not fulfill any single one of those 7 principles of working in public life. Adam says this is ridiculous. How much emissions does a parked car really generate? Robert says all London Borough Council vehicles are now ULEZ compliant, are they? Because obviously they're not. And then Gary has posted up a meme of a whole load of people standing on a plank with a politician stood on the end of the plank, just saying thieving, lying, corrupted, non-elected government. Obviously, if all the people walk off the plank, the politician will fall. They work for us, like they're there to serve us. Mark Edwards says, don't vote Labour anymore, that's the answer, but that'll never happen. No, because Labour have worked in certain communities to ensure that certain communities will vote for them, which is why they will most likely get in again in the next election, and it's going to be hilarious. You've got to get yourself out of the UK, or I don't know. I'm open to all suggestions. Leave your suggestions in the comments. Another Robin says, the council needs to stop their fraudulent behaviour in public offices. They're public servants and nothing else. Those running extortion rackets will be rooted out of public offices, those shutting down public roads, and Serco collecting fines too. In Mexico, when the mayor of a certain town did something that the people didn't like, they dragged him through the street tied behind the back of a horse. I'm not suggesting that. I mean, you can come up with your own ideas. Rin Tin Tin says, Richmond Borough has been doing this for a while. Robert says, we all know this is just a money spinner. Malcolm says, let's complicate things and then people will make mistakes, which we can then charge them for. That is, of course, how British society works. James says, for a council run by a party that's supposedly for the people, this does exactly the opposite. This disproportionately affects the poorest in society. I hope the people in Hounslow remove this nonsense in the elections next year, or indeed go out and get ropes and horses. Doilet Seedov says, the statutory consultation process required to introduce these changes concluded successfully on the 22nd of November 2025 with no objections raised. So there you go, nobody objected to this. So that was obviously a perfectly legal and honest and fair consultation, as you can see from the general feeling in the comments. Colin says, how discriminatory, a parked vehicle doesn't emit anything. What an illegal, immoral, coercive method, abuse of power, be ready for lawsuits or horses if you've got them. Zuba says, who's charging the planes which keep landing at Heathrow? They come in all different shapes and sizes. This is absurd. Yes, but as we know, aeroplanes don't produce any CO2 at all, nor do private jets. Cruise ships as well, actually. Cruise ships don't pollute at all. Doug Bolt says, older cars pollute more. Older cars are owned by poorer people, so the wealthiest pay the least once again. Come on, Doug, that's the way it works. We're in the Hunger Games society now. John says, vote reform. The signs will last 2 minutes. I've said what I think about that. Kelly says, Brentford Towers has 6 blocks each with 88 flats totaling 528 properties and no option for charging vehicles. 528 properties, let's say there's 4 in each. There's 2,000 people there that are being charged for parking their car, and they can't have an electric car because they can't charge. Nobody ever talks about the people that can't charge electric cars, though. I think they just want to get rid of those people. That's basically where you get to. Scott says, absolute money-making scam. Robert says, are you taking cash? Which we know, of course, they won't be taking cash. I think that'll do. I think we've got to the end there. Joshua simply says it's the worst place to drive around and a horrible community. And then Shahid Khan, not Sadiq Khan, says maybe improving the air would improve if they didn't build a 3rd runway. And someone in the comments left a great comment, and here it is. Gary, let's finish with this one. Looking on the bright side, at least when the next teenager loses their life to a bladed article, their last breath will be a clean one, allegedly. That is the state of things in the UK. We are charging people when their cars are parked and not polluting based on how much their car is polluting, even though it's not polluting. Welcome to Clown World. That was another instalment from the capital of Clown World, which is the UK.